Chicago Cubs fans, it's me, Steve Ryan, back with another edition of Cubs Daily. The Cubs bounce back to take the victory from the Phillies, setting up a fantastic rubber match today. It's going to be an early one, so hopefully the Cubs can win this series and move on to the next. We're going to talk about Ian Happ and his revenge game. Jed Hoyer joined John Heyman on his podcast and discussed what the Cubs' plan is at the trade deadline, and we'll preview Game 3 today. So let's hop right into it. The Cubs win 8-4 yesterday on an absolutely fantastic response from this Cubs offense. Colin Wright did a very solid job yesterday, kept the runs to a minimum, but the Cubs were able to get a 1-0 lead. Then the Phillies hit a 2-run homer. Then the Cubs battled back with 2 home runs, take a 3-2 lead. Phillies took the lead back 4-3, and then Ian Happ hit a 2-run homer. Cubs led 5-4, tacked on a few more in the 8th, and that was all she wrote yesterday. And I was scrolling Twitter the previous 2 days, and there was just a lot of hate going towards our main man, Ian Happ. And yesterday was his day. It was a revenge game. I mean, I swear, it's like he was reading the tweets before the game, and he was like, well, I'm going to have to take some notes here. 2 home runs. Ian Happ has been one of the most consistent Cubs of my lifetime. You know, I was on the skeptical train of him as well throughout his time in the beginning, but just his stable force at the leadoff position. Again, it's baseball, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have some ups, you're going to have some downs, but Ian Happ coming off the injured list, like that's the problem. When you're injured, you can't just expect to come right back and be hitting 400. Like, it takes time to get used to it, etc. And clearly, Ian is starting to get comfortable again. He's starting to feel healthy, and the offense is succeeding for it. And again, there was a lot of tweets the other day talking about, I can't stand Ian Happ being leadoff. I want to see PCA be leadoff. I want to see this. I want to see that. Ian Happ, he's awful. Blah, blah, blah. 2 home runs. The pivotal go-ahead home run yesterday. And there was a lot of knock on Dansby hitting as well. He also went yard yesterday. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to become all-world hitters or anything, but they're very sturdy at their job. Dansby's out there for defense. That's what we want from our shortstop, okay? He is a league average hitter at best, but if he's going to be a league average hitter with some pop, he's second in home runs at the shortstop position, which is absolutely fantastic. And Ian Happ providing an absolutely fantastic approach at the plate every time that the lineup turns over. It's going to set this team up for success. You know that the starting pitcher, whoever Ian Happ's facing, is going to throw a lot of pitches. And that second home run he yesterday was in on the hands, and he got the barrel of the bat around and made it happen. An absolutely gorgeous swing from Ian Happ. And just like that, he's got 4 home runs on this road trip, and the Cubs bounce back. They lost 3 of 4 the previously. Hopefully today they can get right back up on the horse and get the series win. The Phillies are a really good team, so it's a great test to see how well the Cubs can compete with them. It's going to be Ben Brown versus Jesus Luzardo. We'll preview that game here in a matter of moments. But just wanted to give Ian Happ his flowers. I'm not going to sit here and say I've been an Ian Happ supporter since day one. A few years ago, I thought that maybe they should trade him to get the most value for him. But you know what? He's just been an absolute stable force for this Cubs team, and it's good to see that, right? It's good to see you invest in your players, and they're here through the good times, the bad times, and now that he's being rewarded with more good times at Wrigley Field. So, shout out to Ian Happ for yesterday's game. Absolutely stellar performance to get the Cubs the big win. Now, let's talk about our main man, Jed Hoyer. He was on John Heyman's podcast the other day, and they kind of broke down the PCA trade and how it all kind of went down with Javi Baez. You know, they were talking to the Mets about the deal. They went through their list of prospects. They kind of knew the big boys weren't available, like Brett Beatty and Francisco Alvarez. They were kind of looking at Mark Vientos. There was another guy that the Mets truly didn't want to give up. And unfortunately for the Mets in this situation, Pete Crow Armstrong had only played like 6 games, so they didn't really have a lot of film on him. They didn't have a lot of thoughts or, possibilities with him. So they made the deal, and now it's paying absolute dividends for the Chicago Cubs as he is a potential MVP candidate. Now, you can't really take anything away from PCA because the person he might lose to is Shohei Ohtani, who can literally pitch and hit at elite levels. So, either way, PCA has been doing a fantastic job. It's been an absolutely fantastic swing. I think Jed Hoyer has done a very, very solid job following in the footsteps of Theo Epstein. And now he joined John Heyman to talk about what the Cubs might need at the deadline. And, as he's discussing, he's like, barring injury, there are probably small things we'll consider on the offensive side. And I personally expect this because their offense has been very solid and the defense behind the pitching has been really good too. But I really think that our position playing group has been really good. Facts. The depth we have, top to bottom, I think we're getting production both offensively and defensively from all our spots. Whenever they called up Matt Shaw, that changed the game. It stabilized third base. That was their one big flaw, and now they're ready to go. That's made a huge difference. As I think about it, pitching is likely the direction we would take if we're adding at the deadline. Well, I imagine the Cubs are going to be adding at the deadline. We've been talking about it here on Cubs Daily for the past few weeks now. What pitchers can the Chicago Cubs target and really help solidify this stat? Again, we've been hit with the injury bug. But everyone gets hit with the injury bug, right? I believe the Dodgers are battling it as well. If the Cubs can get another solid pitcher, well, I think that would help tremendously. I would really like a couple leverage arms in the bullpen and a starter. That's just me, though, personally. Because, again, Showtime Managa's been solid. Justin Steele we know is good, but he's out for the year, unfortunately. Matthew Boyd and Colin Ray have been absolutely fantastic. I can't expect them to continue to have the level of success that they've been having. And Ben Brown pitched really, really well in his last performance. I'm excited to kind of watch him pitch today and see how he bounces back from battling with Tariq Skubal, because that could, you could get up for that game pretty easily, right? You're facing the AL Cy Young Award winner. Now you're kind of back to a little bit of reality. Jesus Luzardo is a fantastic pitcher, but I'm curious to see how Ben Brown does. Do the Cubs go with the depth in the minor leagues, right? They're waiting for Javier Assad to get healthy. Can Jordan Wicks figure it out? Et cetera, et cetera. There are a lot of options for the Cubs in their minor league system, but I also think that adding an arm is definitely a necessity here because we have a lot of outfield prospects that just unfortunately they're probably not going to get the chance to shine on the Chicago Cubs, and that's okay. But they might be able to go elsewhere and do just that. So the Cubs are definitely going to have to add some pitching. We've talked about the likes of adding, a Paul Skeens. That's not happening. I know that's not happening. But we've talked about Sandy Alcantara multiple times, Johan Duran, Zach Gallen, Framber Valdez, a lot of different names. We're going to continue to search the name list as teams kind of start to decide where are they selling, or are they buying, or are they kind of just staying put for the future. That is all going to be played out here over the next couple weeks and entering towards the All-Star break. So, but yes, like Jed Hoyer confirmed all of our suspicions. The Cubs are going to be adding pitching at the deadline. Now, he said maybe, but I definitely think the Cubs are going to be aggressive. They have to make a move to solidify this staff and solidify this bullpen. So, Game 3 today at 12:05. Our main man, Ben Brown, is on the hill. Excited to watch him go at it and rebound. Hopefully, he can start to get a little bit more consistency, right? He went 7 innings. He only gave up 2 runs. Last appearance against the best team in all of baseball, right? Record-wise, the Detroit Tigers. He went head-to-head with Tariq Skubal. When you go head-to-head with a guy like Tariq Skubal, one mistake can quote-unquote lose you the game, and that's all that happened. But again, wins and losses for a pitcher don't really mean all that much. It's about what happens in the game, and Ben Brown did a fantastic job of getting out of situations, limiting the walks, and striking out the opposing team. So I'm very excited to watch him pitch today. The Phillies are throwing Jesus Luzardo, who's a big-time lefty, so I do imagine PCA is going to move down in the lineup a little bit. Dansby Swanson could be moved up to 4. Ian Happ, Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, I imagine, are going to be the 1, 2, 3. Excited to watch this Cubs team. Hopefully we can bounce back and get the series. We won yesterday. Let's go win 2 in a row again. That's the exciting thing about this Cubs team, ladies and gentlemen, is that they do not lose many games in a row, and I think 3 of 4 is kind of tied for the most we've lost in a 4-game stretch. We haven't lost 4 in a row. We have not lost 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 or anything of that nature. This team is ready to take care of business today, and I'm excited to watch them. So make sure you guys like the video. Comment your thoughts down below. Which pitcher you think the Cubs should target at the trade deadline, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the next one. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.